Hi, I'm Jeff,
Hi, I'm Ruby,
and we're young carers.
and welcome to the Supporting Young Adult Carers in the Workplace webinar.
Diolch, Ruby and Jet. And as they've just said, bore da and good morning. Welcome to Carers Trust Wales, supporting young adult carers in the workplace webinar. Hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'm the Young Carer Engagement Officer for Carers Trust Wales. I will be facilitating the webinar this morning. Today we will be identifying who are young adult carers, celebrating and recognising young adult carers' transferable skills, exploring how workplaces can be inclusive to young adult carers, and identifying opportunities to support young adult carers in your business. We will also be launching our employability project, where we hope to engage with local and national businesses to support our young carers' learning and career journey. First up today, we will hear from Kate Cubbage, the Director of Carers Trust Wales.
Croeso, welcome. I'm Kate Cubbage, Director of Carers Trust Wales, and I'm delighted to open what promises to be an informative and engaging webinar focused on young and young adult carers. As a former young carer, I understand firsthand the challenges that can come with trying to pursue your own ambitions whilst caring for a family member or a friend. However, I know with good support those challenges can be overcome. Today we celebrate the valuable transferable skills and qualities young carers develop through their caring roles, recognising their resilience, their empathy and their problem-solving abilities. Undoubtedly, my lived experience has enriched what I have to offer my employers. I'm also pleased that Carers Trust Wales are today launching our Futures project, an initiative that will connect our brilliant network of local carer organisations to local businesses to create meaningful opportunities that support young carers' futures. During this session, we will hear from young adult carers. We will gain insights from leading businesses and from a member of the Senedd, and we will discuss how employers can adopt inclusive practices and offer work experience opportunities. Thank you for joining us to support and empower the next generation of talented individuals, because together we can shape a more inclusive and supportive workforce.
Thank you, Kate. So who are Carers Trust Wales? We want to celebrate young adult carers and recognise their transferable skills. We are working with 10 network partners across Wales with 124 UK-wide partners, working towards an inclusive approach towards carers, and young adult carers, offering support and guidance to inspire the young carers to thrive in their next steps post-16, supporting local businesses to connect with the next generation of employees. Many of our young carers face incredible barriers every day. We want to celebrate their skills and maturity and support them to break down these barriers to a successful future. 39% of our young carers are missing over 10% of school a year. Young adult carers are 3 times more likely to be NEET, not in education, employment or training. And 87% of young carers felt that they had not received good career advice at school, and the advice they did receive did not take into account their caring role. We are working with our network partners to develop a Young Carers in Schools challenge to support schools to identify and support carers earlier. Along with our new employability project, we hope to support the young carers' learner journey and create positive opportunities in their community post-16. So who are young carers by definition? A young carer is someone aged 18 and under who cares for a friend or family member who, due to illness, disability, a mental health issue, or someone dealing with substance misuse, that cannot cope without their support. An adult young carer are people with caring responsibilities aged 16 to 25. They support a friend or a family member who, due to illness, disability, a mental health issue, or someone dealing with substance misuse who cannot cope without their support. There are over 22,000 young carers in Wales. But who are young adult carers? We will now hear from 3 young adult carers. They will identify their caring role and responsibilities, along with the skills and qualities they have grown from their caring role. We want to celebrate their hard work and dedication and to recognise their transferable skills. The young adult carers will explore their real lives, with many revealing hard-hitting realities of life as a young adult carer. Firstly, we have Albie, a young adult carer from Rhyl, who is supported by Credi in North Wales. Albie is also an active member of our Youth Council, which advocates and raises the voices of Wales's young carers to help inform and campaign for better rights for carers across Wales. A really powerful video from Albie. We are currently working with Albie to explore university options and hope we can arrange visits to his chosen universities, as well as Cardiff University Physics Department.
I'm Albie Sutton, 16 years old, and I live in Bodderwithen, and I'm part of Rhyl Young Carers. And I've been a young carer now for the last 3 or 4 years, caring for my mum, who has a lot of health conditions that are really severe, such as asthma, diabetes, lymphedema, AVN, osteoporosis, arthritis. She's got a lot. It's a really hard life for her. So, as part of a young carer and caring for my mum, because of these conditions, I have to do stuff such as cook meals. So I'm cooking dinner for my family 7 days a week, every day, because no one else in my house can cook, other than my mum. But she's in such an awful condition, it's not fair to ask her to cook. I also have to help her get dressed because it's too painful to reach down, or she can't even reach to put socks on. It's too painful and it's too difficult. So she just hasn't got the mobility for that. I also have to clean around the house, so every weekend. I've just done it today. I've done the hoovering, cleaned the kitchen and cleaned the bathrooms. So I have to do that. I also have to help her bathe. So when she has a shower, when she wants to wash her hair, I have to help her with that because she can't reach her lower body. So I have to help with that. I also have to help her walkie because the bathroom is just opposite her room. It's like, I don't know, a few strides away. But she's in so much pain, she just can't walk on her own. So I help her with that. And I have to support her emotionally as well, because we've had a really tough time for the last 2 years with the family and with stuff that's happened. So I have to support her with that. But being a young carer, it does come with its benefits, you know. Like, I've learned how to do budgeting because I have to sort out our food when we do online orders, how much the food costs, and it doesn't go over a certain price. I sort that out. I've also learned how to cook. I've learned how to clean, how to maintain a house. I've had to learn patience as well because my mum struggles with getting her words out, because you're at that point in life where, you know, her brain's not working as well as it used to. So, and I've also had to learn how to work very hard, because not only am I coping with my life at home, I'm coping with school life, which I'll come to on in a minute. And I've had to learn, most importantly, to empathise with her. And it's, you know, a skill that's transferable to other people, for other people when they're going through tough times. I can empathise with them. Because empathising is about being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and really understand how they're feeling, understand their emotions and why they feel what they feel. So then you can give them the best support you can, because you understand what they want. So, but with what I said before about hard working, I have to cope with not only a life I have at home of cooking and cleaning and looking after my mum, being a young carer, but I also have to cope with my school life and my physical life. So when I go to the gym 5 days a week, and I'm coping with school life. As I'm in year 11 now, it's the most important year for me because I'm doing my GCSEs. I've just had a mock week now, and it was very stressful, I'll admit, because I'm having to fit all that stuff in, plus revision, plus homework, plus the gym. So that is the downside of being a young carer. It's a lack of free time and to do what I want, you know, to relax. I don't get to go out with my mates or, you know, have much of a social life because I just don't have the time to do that. So, but aside from that, I hope that, you know, one day, if my mum's condition does get better, I'll be able to go to university. I won't have to worry about caring. I can go to university, hopefully. Maybe I'm aiming for something like Oxford, Cambridge or Durham, so I can study physics and astrophysics as well, to become an astrophysicist. So that's my story for being a young carer. Thank you for listening.
Secondly, we have Josh, a young adult carer from Swansea Carers.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I'm a young carer. I've been a young carer for my mum since I was 8 years old, My mother has quite a few illnesses, so since I was 8 years old, I kind of stepped up and started caring for my mum. Since being a young carer, I've recently qualified to become a special constable with South Wales Police, and I've started working and volunteering with St John Ambulance to gain valuable skills and also progress on skills that I already have attained since being a young carer. Problem solving is definitely one of the biggest skills, especially to have in a policing role and within St John Ambulance. That role I've obviously obtained from being a young carer, having to deal with situations quickly and managing those difficult situations where my mother's really ill. So that transferring into St John Ambulance and policing role is absolutely crucial, as every call that you go to or every situation that you deal with is not the same. So you have to use those problem solving abilities to adapt to those situations and find a way to kind of fix it. Another big skill that I've learned from being a young carer is being mature and responsible. I mean, since I was 8 years old being a young carer, I had to learn how to mature quickly, which young kids that age, they can just have fun. They wouldn't normally have to mature that quickly. So having that huge responsibility, it made me miss out on those fun childhood times. But through my caring role, I also learned how to adapt different ways or incorporate different ways into making that caring role fun and manageable. As you can imagine, being a young carer, the role is demanding, so being able to make just even the simplest bit of the caring role fun, it makes all the difference. Where would I like to go in the future? I definitely want to work in some sort of public service sector. The reason why I went into the voluntary roles in the first place was to gather that work experience. The way I'm approaching life is trying to try different occupations through different pathways, and this work experience or voluntary work, it allows me to get that in-depth view of what that role is like. So if I got the opportunity to volunteer or maybe get that work experience in a medical sector other than St John, that is fun, but I want to see what it's actually like in a hospital, mostly in a lab. I definitely want to work somewhere in a laboratory, maybe as a clinical scientist or biomedical scientist, like developing and creating those cures for illness or diseases. Of course, I'm quite passionate about something like that. Being a young carer, it is difficult, and I don't want young children to feel the same way I did as a child. So being able to create a cure for at least something helps that child in the future. So getting work experience, that opportunity, it would be really appreciative and I'd be grateful.
Thank you, Josh. As Josh mentions, work experience and taster days are great ways for our young carers to really have an insight into careers and the working world. We are working with Swansea Health Board to arrange a taster day within the lab at the hospital for Josh. And now we have Emily. Emily is a former young carer who was supported by Carers Trust West Wales.
My name is Emily, and I am a library assistant with Cylchgar. I was also a young carer throughout my childhood and teenage years. Growing up, I knew that my family didn't quite function the same as everyone else's. My mother was diagnosed with a lung disease called COPD when I was a small child, and so I don't really remember what she was like before she got ill. I just knew there were a lot of things that she couldn't do that other mothers could do without thinking. It was up to us to look after her, and more often than not, up to me. My caring role consisted of different tasks, from basic household duties like hoovering and laundry, to administering medication and comforting her through difficult days and nights. My family and I got by for years before we knew about the Young Carers service. I didn't really talk about my home life. I remember teachers would always give me the important tasks because I was so mature for my age, when in reality I'd been forced to grow up much quicker than others because of my caring role. I felt like the parent in my family life, and I worried throughout the day how my mother was doing and how she'd be when I get home. Being introduced to Young Carers, it changed my life. I was finally surrounded by people who knew exactly what I was dealing with, despite my attempt at a sunny exterior. And being around other young people who were in my position made me feel less alone. With the help of Young Carers, I was able to socialise outside of school and college and go on trips to do exciting things, just as any young person should be able to. Being a member of the Young Adult Carers service taught me that, although my family life looked different, I was learning valuable life skills that would help me as I progressed through school and college and university and into my adult life. Not only was I mature for my age, but I was growing to become a responsible, kind and empathetic young adult. I'm able to keep calm under pressure, solve problems with patience, and effectively communicate with those around me. My caring role taught me never to judge a book by its cover, and that the life of anyone that you meet has more depth than you realise. You never know what someone is going through behind closed doors, and it's vital that we treat everyone with compassion. I'm so grateful for the time that I got to spend with my mother. She was a wonderful person, and I miss her every day. I'm so thankful that I was there to help her when she needed me, and for the person that I've become as a result. Thank you.
A really powerful insight into the lives and aspirations of young adult carers, highlighting their key skills that range from problem solving to managing money, skills that can often go unnoticed. We want to celebrate these skills and empower our young carers to recognise these and use them to take their next steps in the working world. We will now hear from 3 Cardiff University student ambassadors who have recognised their skills and qualities from their caring role and are using these skills to excel within their chosen undergraduate courses at Cardiff University. First up, we have Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Alexandra and I'm a 4th year integrated Masters Neuroscience student. I cared for and still care for my mum, and this has given me a lot of skills and experience. So I perform tasks like personal care, health and financial admin, emotional support, things like cooking, cleaning, and generally safe dressing. And that's a lot of tasks, especially so when you're growing up and trying to manage school and your own health. But it also means that I'm not easily flustered. I am good at balancing, even when there's multiple important things going on, I can balance it. I know how to prioritise. So the experience I've got, both paid and voluntary, has been invaluable, and I'm grateful for the opportunities. Everything from your standard school work experience to working with the widening participation team at Cardiff, a summer internship in my future field or related. And this has been great to get the connections and the skills and build the confidence to know that I can do it and I can be successful, because I don't have the connections, but gaining that confidence, those skills, those workplace skills has been absolutely, and of course, if it's paid experience, is even better. In this economy, everyone needs the help.
To Alexandra, a lovely insight into how transferable skills has supported her journey. We will now hear from Afzana, who cares for her older brother.
Hi, my name is Afsana and I'm a student at Cardiff University, but I'm also a young adult carer. I care for my older brother who has severe nonverbal autism and severe learning difficulties. You might be able to hear him in the background of this video. So what I usually have to do as part of my chores and responsibilities is that I usually have to drive to the shops and get kind of groceries, his food. I also have to order his medicines and then go to the pharmacy and collect those medicines. I also sometimes feed him his medicine, sometimes I give him food, give him water, just trying to coax him to eat, and just supporting my mum in general. I also have to speak to his doctors because my mum can't speak English, and of course my brother can't speak, so I have to speak on both of their behalves and communicate any issues and just translate for my mum. And yeah, those are kind of the main responsibilities that I have as a secondary carer. And in terms of the skills that I've developed through doing that, I'd say communication is definitely one of them. I always have to speak to his doctors and just people on my mum's behalf. And so I've had to gain a lot of confidence. I've also had to learn kind of the right sort of language to use. I've had to learn kind of how to seem more assertive despite being at the time a teenager when I was doing these things. Now I'm an adult, but I'm still considered his younger sister. So I kind of have had to develop a sense of authority. I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking to his doctors. I've also had to kind of learn a lot of patience because obviously he gets distressed, he gets angry, he can get violent. So it's a lot of patience on my part, a lot of endurance, because it just takes a lot of endurance to be able to handle that day in, day out. And I think that's really built up my resilience. I have a lot of friends who, they'll sleep 7 hours and they still can't make it to a 9 a.m. lecture. Whereas I refuse to compromise on my education. Even if I've gotten 1 hour of sleep because of my responsibilities, I will still turn up to that 9 a.m. lecture. And I think that just goes to show exactly how proactive I am. And in terms of being proactive, I also had to learn to drive. That was not a skill that I wanted to learn. It was a skill that I had to learn because I knew that I would have responsibilities like going to the shops and going to the doctors and going to the pharmacy. And I knew that I had to learn that just so that I could support my mum and dad in just lessening their burden, really. So yeah, I think those are the main key skills. I've also, of course, had to learn multitasking. That's just something you have to do when, you have your own work, but you also have to care for someone. That's just kind of something that comes naturally, eventually when you've been doing it for so long. And of course, empathy. I think that's key. You're not going to care for someone that you're responsible for if you don't have empathy, and it really helps in other situations in life. It gives you a new sort of perspective and it makes you understand people from a different kind of angle that maybe others wouldn't. So yeah, I think those are kind of the key skills that I have from being a carer and just living my entire life like this. And in terms of my schooling, my education and career, I'm currently a university student, but I'm on my placement year, which means that I am doing an internship with Transport for London right now. And then I will go back to do my final year later this year in September. I'm going to do my dissertation then. So in terms of how being a carer has helped me kind of gain work experience, I got my first ever job at Dr. Martens, which is a shoe shop. And, one of the first interview questions was, how are you in high pressure, loud environments? And I said, I thrive because that's kind of all I've ever known. I'm really able to work under pressure. I'm really good with loud environments. It doesn't, upset me in that kind of way. I'm very used to it. I'm also very capable of, showing customers that I care, giving good customer service, because being a carer means that you are very empathetic, that you are very kind of always ready to reassure someone, ready to support them. So I think that's really good in terms of customer service skills. And my communications internship with Transport for London, again, it's been absolutely key, having to deal with people. That's kind of the case with any job, I think. So being a carer really gives you transferable skills that you will need later on in life. Even if it's not specifically a people-facing role, it will always come up. You will always have to deal with people. So I think that's been absolutely amazing. And I would like to add that I think Cardiff University and Transport for London have been very supportive with the fact that I'm a carer. I feel very recognised. Cardiff University gives both financial support and emotional support, and Transport for London has given me flexible working hours, and they're very understanding, not just with the fact that I'm a carer, but the fact that I commute from Cardiff. So being a carer is an added barrier on top. And I think, being a carer and being from somewhere far away where I can't really afford to move to my new job, that shouldn't stop me from, reaching my potential and excelling. And so I know for a fact that this work experience has been really, really important to me and really helpful. And in fact, I think I would love to do a grad scheme with Transport for London if I can. It's really helped me. All of this work experience has really helped me understand where I want to go in the future with my career. I know kind of what sort of grad schemes I want to do. I've even got dissertation ideas now that I'm thinking about doing with Transport for London. And so it's really helped me pave kind of the direction that I want to go in the future, and I'm ready to kind of take that next step after I finish university. So yeah, I think being a carer shouldn't stop me from getting that sort of work experience, and it's really, really important that I do get that work experience that other people get to have without these sorts of barriers, because my ability to excel is just as important as anyone else's. And I think, if anything, I've got some really solid skills that can help me in any manner of life, in any line of work. So I think, yeah, it's really important that organisations kind of recognise and do what they can to adjust for us, just in terms of supporting us and understanding where we're coming from. But yeah, thank you.
As you've just heard, Afzana has excellent transferable skills from her caring role that she is bringing into her work placement. With a little bit of flexibility from the work placement, Afzana is able to showcase her talents and excel in her journey into the working world. And finally, we have Amira, a young adult carer who, as you will hear, has grown an abundance of excellent skills and qualities, ones that I'm sure you will agree will see her fulfill her career ambitions.
Hi, my name is Amira and I'm a second year medical student studying at Cardiff University. Today I will be briefly talking about my experience as a young adult carer coming from a low-income household. With the role of a young carer comes great responsibility. As our duties increase, so does the opportunity to learn and grow. The prominent skills I've been able to attain through being a young carer are time management, organisation, communication and problem-solving skills. I've been able to gain these through having to multitask under time constraints and balance my responsibilities alongside work, academics and my personal life, and these all require meticulous in advance planning, whilst also having to deal with unexpected situations, such as dealing with a sudden medical issue, for example. Although these skills seem quite simple to attain, they are ingrained into my daily life, enhancing both its application and effectiveness, compared to the average individual who gain these skills sporadically through jobs and academics. These transferable skills would be quite useful in work experience or a job, as we are required to be quite independent in addition to having these skills. The attributes and skills I've been able to attain through being a young carer have also been able to aid me in my work experiences. For example, being able to engage in conversation came quite naturally to me, and this was required frequently in my work experiences. I attribute this to having to liaise with doctors, customer service workers, and dealing with general matters in regards to my mother's affairs. As a current medical student myself, I also want to emphasise how difficult it was for me to find work experience. Through searching for quite some time, I was fortunately able to find some work experience through knowing a friend of a friend. This boosted my application significantly, which aided me into being accepted into Cardiff University for medicine, and this also helped to support my CV when applying for jobs. Through obtaining work experience, it enabled me to network, understand the career that I wanted to go into, and it allowed me to utilise the skills I learned being a carer into my work experiences and in my current degree. As a result, I want to highlight the impact work experience can make and underscore the importance of making it more accessible for disadvantaged individuals like myself.
Thank you to all our great young adult carers for taking the time to share a small glimpse into their lives. As we have heard, the young adult carers are uniquely equipped. They have developed real transferable skills through their caring role, such as being empathetic, a problem solver, emotional intelligence, resilience, financial management, and being calm under adversity. It is those transferable skills that make them a valuable prospective employee. They have the foundations to build on and to be an excellent team member, bringing enthusiasm and maturity. We have heard from our young adult carers and established and celebrated the abundance of transferable skills they can bring. So, how can employers support carers in the workplace? Firstly, we will hear from Lisa from the Civil Service, where she will discuss how they support carers entering the workforce, the Carers Network, and in her experience, the valuable transferable skills young adult carers bring to the civil service. Lisa Jackson, Head of Operations Going Forward into Employment, which is part of the civil service. So Lisa, thank you very much for joining us today. If you could explain your role and how you support young carers and young adult carers into the workplace, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. So my name is Lisa. I am part of the Going Forward into Employment team, which is part of the civil service. So we work on behalf of the entire civil service. So we're a team that works, kind of creates a connection between opportunities in civil service departments and young adult carers, amongst other groups. So one thing we do is we look for opportunities within the civil service, and then we bring those opportunities directly to young adult carers. And we do that by working in partnership with the Carers Trust and with Carers Hubs. And what we essentially do is we kind of try to break down some of the barriers that might be existing that might stop a young adult carer from perhaps applying for a civil service job. So we have lots of civil jobs available across the civil service, and those are advertised regularly. But we know from talking to people that there are things that put people off. And having been to a couple of kind of sessions where I've heard young adult carers talking about their experiences, it can be things like, you know, what will a new employer think if I've got to take time off to go to an appointment with the person that I'm caring for? Or what will an employer think if, you know, my caring responsibilities have perhaps dialed down now, but I've had to take time out of education because, you know, I've had to focus my attention on caring for someone. So those things can kind of sit in someone's head, I think, and make them, you know, worry about applying for something and perhaps not put themselves forward. So our role is very much about doing a little bit of what we're doing now. So we effectively come out and talk to, you know, to young adult carers via hubs, via sessions, and that's that kind of outreach work that we look to do. So we know that, you know, sometimes it's not only putting a vacancy up and people seeing it, but it's a bit of an explanation of what that looks like. So just for as an example, how does that work in practice? Where we've had a specific vacancy in a department, we've run a session, a drop-in session for young adult carers to come along to, and they're perhaps the people that they're working with too. So they might be working with, you know, with support workers at the hub, for example, who can come and hear what it's all about as well. They can ask questions, you know, just to say, you know, what would you think if I did have to, for example, request time off, or, you know, if I needed to take leave, or if I needed my hours to be different. So there's an ability just to have that kind of conversation, which I think can help. And that's essentially what we do. So we're looking to try, and there's lots of you know, policies within the civil service that are embedded right across already. So, you know, when you think about how people are actually supported once they're in departments, you know, we apply lots of policies that are very much carer friendly and support people, you know, whilst they're in the workplace. But our job is about creating that step before. So how can we, you know, make sure that people understand what it's like to work in the civil service and hopefully come and join us.
Fantastic. It sounds excellent work doing that. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Carers Network that you have?
Yeah, of course. So if we think about what I've just described there, that's kind of the start of the journey and hopefully the start of a career, because one thing that we do hope is that people will join the civil service and have a career within it, because there's such ability to kind of move around departments, to move around different professions. So, you know, there's really quite a lot of kind of different options that people can take, or they might just want to stay in a role for a certain period of time and then move on to something different. So, you know, we consider that to be a success too. So the Carers Network, the Civil Service Carers Network, is kind of a support mechanism once you're in the civil service. So the civil service is very, you know, it's large. It's lots of organisations under one umbrella effectively. So each of those organisations will usually have a representative within it who is part of that carers network. So there's quite a lot of activity goes on within different departments, but then this network brings it all together. So there's effectively somewhere for, you know, for people to go if they want to access that kind of peer support, and they can get involved if they want to try and raise awareness within their own department. So I'm just thinking of things that the network offers will be awareness of, for example, support days. There'll be access to resources, whether it's online sessions or written resources, whether it's, for example, a couple of really fab things that the network have done. There's been a toolkit created for managers, so helping managers to understand how they can support carers in the workplace, you know, the kind of tips and guides that they want to follow, and that will still point them towards existing policies, but it's just about making sure it's very accessible and people understand what kind of best practice looks like. Yeah, and it's just a really fab kind of group who do a lot to try and support, because we have huge numbers of you know, unpaid carers within the civil service, just like we do across the UK and in other organisations. So we have to make sure that we support them as best we can.
Amazing. It sounds really inclusive. I love the idea of having the resources for the managers. That's fantastic. So in your experience and having helped lots of many adult carers into the civil service, what do you feel the transferable skills that the young adult carers can bring to the employers and to the organisations?
So I think there's a lot, and I would say that it's just like any person really, it's also individual. And I think sometimes there's almost a concern, as I've mentioned before, from young adult carers, that they're going to be stereotyped, so that they'll be seen as being perhaps how can you describe, like maybe unreliable because they've got other things going on in their lives, and you know, that concern about things like that. But what I've seen is actually the caring role itself really kind of accelerate some of the skills that employers are looking for. So if I think of, you know, generally what we look for in anyone in the civil service, and it's possible, you know, to kind of look at these things online and look at the behaviours that we you know, we want. So people who are good communicators, people who work well in a team, and people who are organised and efficient. When I describe those things, that's many of the things that you need when you're trying to navigate a caring role. You know, so dealing with lots of appointments, you know, working with medical professionals, perhaps navigating, you know, different parts of the system, which of course, working in the civil service, we're all part of a you know, a big system. Being able to advocate for someone else, you know, to deal with issues like that. It might sound a little bit, what's the word, kind of an assumption, but I think there can be a level of resilience there. You know, it's a very difficult job to do. It's not even you know, it's not something that someone's receiving a salary for. It's an unpaid role, and you know, that kind of resilience there, that ability to face perhaps setbacks and just keep on going in that, are all things that employers are looking for. And I think that recognising perhaps that young adult carers don't see those things in themselves perhaps helps employers think about how they might want to attract people as well. What might those concerns be? You know, how do they maybe articulate that those skills are absolutely what they need in the business as well? And therefore, you know, this isn't about necessarily just doing a good thing. For example, of course, it's good, we want to be inclusive organisations, but there's also a lot of benefit for the business too, who are receiving, you know, those really valuable skills that they bring.
Absolutely. And everything you've just mentioned there has been echoed into with our young people that we've just heard from as well. So the 6 young people have also said, and they've listed many of those really, really valuable transferable skills. So thank you very much, Lisa, for your time and your contribution.
Thank you, Lisa. Some great support services happening at the civil service. Really inclusive, and again, Lisa echoing the valuable transferable skills our young adult carers have to offer. Next, we will hear from Claire from the BBC, discussing the BBC's Carers Network and how this has had a positive impact on her and other members' working life as a carer.
My name's Claire. I work for the BBC, and I wanted to let you know about my experience of the BBC's carers policy. So I found myself in a position that I was full-time carer for my son, who was diagnosed with a heart condition and a rare cell disease, and that was about 8 years ago. He's had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of emergency situations where I have had to just drop everything and get him to the hospital or access medical care. And it puts a massive strain on you as a person, as a family, and your work and your deadlines. It's a big responsibility alongside your job, which obviously is top priority. But in Kobe's situation, he's under 8 different consultants, so that's at least an appointment every 2 appointments a year at the very least, and then his emergency care then in between. So it's a lot of time having to go to appointments, juggling, and the fact that the BBC have brought in a carers policy has impacted my situation in a really positive way. So I know I've always been very open about my situation, but some people aren't as lucky, where they have like a boss who doesn't fully understand or they don't connect with. The policy allows people to have the leave that they need to take relatives, the person they're caring for, to appointments, and for surgeries, and just to be there, and it takes a huge bit of pressure off the carer. So there's 4 broad aims of the BBC's Carers Network. The first is to provide peer support for carers at the BBC, and that's done through regular get-togethers, events, and a dedicated teams network. To be the voice of carers within the organisation, to initiate projects and implement tools that will help carers at the BBC, and to raise awareness of the needs of carers within the BBC. A dedicated email address was set up for anybody who wanted to join the network, and this is all available, all the information is available on the BBC's intranet. So you just send an email, and then the hosts of the meeting, they will invite you to share your experience if you want to, and it's really benefited me, because you can feel so alone in your situation. Being able to speak to people who are in similar situations, and it's a very mixed bag of people. Like I said, I care for my son, others caring for parents, siblings. So we've got a real broad range of people within the Carers Network, and we share tips, and I found it really helpful, because my son's disease is rare. It's difficult to get the support needed for him, but others on the call have said, have you tried this charity, have you gone this route, and it gets you thinking about how you can get to the end goal of what you need to achieve for the person you're caring for, and because they've been through exactly the same sort of process with their child or parents. So it's really benefited me, and I know all of the group, everyone that's joined gets so much out of having the Carers Network in the BBC.
Thank you, Claire. A great insight into how an organisation can support carers and help them feel accepted, supported, and excel in their careers. As we have heard, having a few support avenues in place can make a huge difference in a carer's working life, encouraging and allowing carers to have the opportunity to flourish and reach their full potential. Putting in place a supportive line manager, awareness training programs for employees, access to flexible working, carer-friendly policies such as flexible working and unpaid carers leave, links and signposting to high-quality information and support and advice, identifying champions and role models, and setting up and supporting a workplace carers network. As we have heard today, accessing learning and training opportunities as a first step towards finding a career can be hard for any young person. But for young people who have grown up juggling studying with a caring role at home, it can be especially challenging. We have heard from our young adult carers today that when they get home, they will have a list of things to get done for a sick or disabled parent or sibling before they can even begin to think about their next steps in their career journey. However, we have heard from our young adult carers the array of transferable skills and attributes they could bring to an employer. What young adult carers need is that extra bit of support to help them access the world of work. Career insight days, work experience, and similar opportunities really make a difference in helping young adult carers build their confidence and show what they can do when they are given the opportunity. The Welsh Government has developed a young person's guarantee that sits alongside the engagement and progression framework. The framework strives to have 90% of young people in education, employment, or training by 2050. Here at Carers Trust, we want to support this goal and work with local employers to help young carers into the world of work through work experience and insight days. Sarah Murphy, MS for Bridgend and Porthcawl, is supporting this initiative and has had young carers on work experience within her constituency office. We will now hear from Sarah.
Shmai, hello everybody, I'm Sarah Murphy and I'm the member of the Senate for Bridgend and Porthcawl. Thank you to the Young Carers Trust for asking me to film a little video for you today talking about the young persons and young carers work experience programme that we run in my constituency office. It came through actually talking to young carers and being like, look, what can I do to help in a really kind of like practical way? And they were saying that sometimes they struggle to be able to have opportunities for having work experience like other young people because they have responsibilities where sometimes, you know, they need that flexibility. Sometimes they might need to postpone, they may need to cancel, they may need to change the times. And I said, okay, great. So we've kind of developed this program, 6-week program over the last few years with young carers based on what they want. Sometimes they want to come in and they want to do a little bit of talking about their experience as young carer, a little bit of like campaigning, advocacy, and sometimes they want to come in and do something totally different and kind of explore another part of their identity and their skills really. So it's been hugely rewarding for me and my team, and I hope that it's been really rewarding for them as well. I'm really thrilled that we've been able to do this programme together, and I think it's something that should happen across all of the offices of the Senate. So diolch yn fawr.
Thank you very much, Sarah. What a great opportunity for our young carers. So it is my greatest pleasure to announce the launch of the Carers Trust Wales Employability Project, Our Futures, where we hope you will engage and support our young people to thrive and gain opportunities into the working world. We will now watch a short video launching our employability project.
Young Carers Futures is our ambitious new programme. We launched this programme in response to what we were hearing from young people who are carers about the lack of support for them to access training and job opportunities. We're really excited to work closely with employers to provide opportunities for young adult carers that will allow them to thrive and reach their potential.
By employing young adult carers at the Body Shop, we've seen increase in their confidence. You know, they've developed leadership skills, they've developed a passion for working with people, for working in retail. They've, you know, been able to take ownership of their role, and they've really been able to grow within a community. It's important for young carers to be given an opportunity to find themselves, understand exactly what it is that they're wanting from a career, but they won't be able to know that unless they're given opportunities to try it out.
I think employers should kind of support young carers and support young adult carers into work, because at the end of the day, their caring role shouldn't be where their career stops. Young carers have so much to offer in life in terms of skill set, and I think that can be such an asset to any sort of company. Some of the skills that I developed as a young carer that kind of help in the workplace is I can work under pressure very well. Like when my mum was having a meltdown in public, I was having to deal with that on my own. And when you're then dealing with a customer that's kind of on your toes, or you're working with a client that's very much working to a deadline, being able to kind of work under that pressure is something that I think so many young carers can kind of relate to.
Since the partnership has begun, we've achieved some incredible things, reaching over 7,000 young adult carers, and we supported their future prospects. We've offered loads of different types of activities to young adult carers: workshops, mentoring, one-to-ones, CV skills workshops, interview skills. Speaking to some of the young adult carers, you can really tell that from when the partnership began, their confidence has really increased.
As a young adult carer, I already have loads of transferable skills. Being part of this programme has made me really positive about the future.
The CV session gave me insight on how I could improve my CV to get my job and to further myself in life. The employment opportunity was 3 questions on the phone, and it got me the job, and I've been there for about 4 months now.
As a carer centre connected to the Carers Trust, these programmes have proved to be hugely beneficial for young adult carers. And the skills that they're learning are great for their futures, and we feel really positive at the ongoing work that we're continuing to do together. Young adult carers that have been supported through the programme report to me that they're more confident, they have made new friends, which is fantastic for them, and feel positive about their futures.
By partnering with Carers Trust, employers can support young adult carers like myself.
Part of a team called Going Forward into Employment, which is a way for the civil service to reach out directly to young adult carers. What's kind of different about Going Forward into Employment is that we can take those opportunities directly to young adult carers. So we work with the Carers Trust to promote these opportunities. What is really important as well is the insights that young adult carers can bring. So from their own kind of personal experiences, not only do they bring that into a team situation, you know, in terms of how a team might operate, but also potentially whatever service they're working in. All of those services will be corresponding with, interacting with carers too, young adult carers, unpaid carers. So it's really important that there's that kind of connection. There's so many different benefits that having young adult carers in the workplace has for the civil service. There's an awful lot of skills that I think young adult carers don't identify themselves as having. When you do have caring responsibilities, a lot of times that means juggling an awful lot of priorities. So some of the ones that kind of almost practical ones that come to mind are around, you know, organisation, ability to manage your time, to prioritise things, which are just fundamental kind of transferable skills that I think all employers really look for. But I know something that really stands out to me as well is around some of those kind of what we'd call softer skills, but thinking about resilience, which is really important in the workplace. But there's also something as well around empathy and emotional intelligence, and being able to connect to people and, you know, to have that kind of empathy for others is really important in public services. An awful lot of skills that I think young adult carers bring that employers would be, you know, very, very lucky to have. I'm going to give 3 pieces of advice. So the first one is that I would think more broadly about your policies and practices. Are they inclusive to young adult carers? Because once you've kind of encouraged someone to apply for your organisation, you want to make sure that it's not just about them joining, it's also about supporting them once they're in the workplace. The second one would be thinking about how you attract young adult carers too. So just thinking about how, you know, what your reach out to young adult carers is. Are you promoting your opportunities in places that young adult carers will see them? And the last one is just thinking about your wider support networks too. So what is the ongoing support for a young adult carer when they join? As part of going forward into employment, we have a buddy system set up, which is absolutely an offer that the individual can take up. If you're an employer looking to support young adult carers like we have at the Civil Service, then Carers Trust can help you. Visit their website to find out more about how you can bring talent into your workplace by supporting young adult carers.
With our employability project, we want to support our young adult carers to explore and experience an inclusive working world. With over 41% of young adult carers worrying about their future job chances, and as previously mentioned, 87% feeling that they had not had the best career advice that took into account their caring role. We want to establish inclusive employers who can adapt and be supportive to carers in the working environment. We would like to establish work experience opportunities, taster and insight days where our young people can explore the different types of roles in various industries. We will also be holding a summer employability festival in both North and South Wales. Our Summer Employability Festival will empower and encourage young and young adult carers to take their next steps into the world of work. We would love to invite you to come along to our Summer Day Employability Festival. The event will be an opportunity for young adult carers to meet and engage with various careers. We will create a market stall environment where employers can meet and greet the young people, chat and discuss routes and opportunities to a positive step into the working world. As part of the day, we will also have workshops available to the young people from Careers Wales and Business in Wales. We are currently working with a variety of different organisations such as Swansea Health Board, Cardiff University, DWP, BBC Wales, Careers Wales, Bangor University and Challenge Wales. In April, a group of young adult carers will embark on a sailing trip with Challenge Wales. They will be using and improving on their transferable skills such as leadership, teamwork and confidence to help sail and navigate the boat across the Bristol Channel. We want to establish lots of fabulous opportunities to support our young carers to grow and improve their skills and to take positive next steps into the working world. If you would like to join us to help raise the aspirations of young adult carers in Wales, whether that be offering taster days, work experience, or you would like to join us at the Employability Festival, please get in touch. My name is Sarah Fraser, Young Carer Engagement Officer, and my email is sfraser, Fraser, @carers.org. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed the webinar and feel excited about the possibility of supporting our fabulous young adult carers into a positive and successful future.